Ken Boggle, raised dirt poor in Kentucky as he tells it, now a highly successful psychic medium and professional tarot card reader. He's also one of the stars of the successful new hit show, Living for the Dead. He's my guest coming up next on Survivor Angels.
It's time for Survivor Angels, an approach to strengthen trauma survivors. Here, you can escape what draws negativity and engage your positive abilities and the gifts that you've always had. Let's activate your angels. And to help you on that journey, here's Chaplain Jodi.
Ken, I have missed your gorgeous, handsome, beautiful face. Oh, it's so good to have you back on Survivor Angels.
I'm happy to be back. And now we're on video, which is what I said we should be doing the whole time. We're on video. I'm loving this. I think this is a great move for you. You're so beautiful and you're so kind. Any chance I can get to hang out with you is a chance I will take.
Well, and you are the reason why I am video, because you said you've got to do this. And I'm like, okay, Ken said I've got to do this. So I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And
kids these days, they just want a video, babe. That's all they want. You can't type, you can't just do audio. They want a visual. Love them for
it. And speaking of video and visual, your project that has launched and is thriving, and I love it, Living for the Dead. It's a dream come true, isn't it?
It is a dream come true. I've done the work for 31 years. So starting when I was 8 years old. 31 years I worked. 15 years professionally doing paranormal investigations. 10 years of doing professional psychic mediumship tarot card readings. And I've been in the convention circuit, the long, dirty road of paranormal convention circuits. I've been at that for 8 or 9 years. And so I really thought it's about time that I get to have a voice on a large streaming platform or a large platform to contribute to the conversation of life after death. And I just a couple of times thought it wasn't going to happen. And then out of nowhere, this opportunity came, which honestly, I disregarded at first. And I didn't want to do it. But Elizabeth Saint kicked me in the rear and said, go do it. So I from that moment on, as soon as I started meeting people and heard what the thing was, it was like, this is an absolute dream. And it went from I'm not sure to I absolutely must do this. Like I have to do this. So yeah, it's been a long, hard road and a total dream come true.
Yes, and I love the fact that you call yourself daddy on there with the rest of your teammates.
Well, the funny thing about it is that we're all gifted in an incredible way. Juju, Alex, Logan, Roz, they all have a thing. And we're all paranormal investigators. And we're all gifted in some way. And Roz is hilarious. And the others are very skilled and talented. And they're all gorgeous. And I really didn't know what my place in it was. I'm like, you don't necessarily have to have a tarot card reader to do paranormal investigations. And there are other paranormal investigators here. They're all younger than me. I don't know what my voice is. And Scout Productions, David Collins took me to the side because I was somewhat emotional about it. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. And this is like first episode into the second episode. And he said, Ken, you're the dad. You're the dad. Be dad. And he was like, you have 31 years of experience. You've been doing this longer than some of them have been alive. And you're honoring them and you're respecting them and you're staying in your lane. but just be dad. You don't have to be outrageously funny. Just go be yourself. You are like the dad of any group. Go do that. And I was like, okay. And then, of course, in the community, in the LGBTQ community, when you're over 35 and you have a beard and you have a certain body type, you fall into the daddy category. So it just worked. I do think the coolest thing, though, was that there was an article for, dang it, what was the name of that article? I can't remember. But the lady called me the deep fried daddy, and with a Diane Keaton bowler hat. And I was like, no, better words have never been said. Like that it's iconically me.
I love that. Yeah, and you are so natural in that natural role. That's kind of weird how I said that, but it's like when he said your dad. I mean, he's absolutely right. It's a natural fit.
Yeah. I think I think that the reality of my life is that I would have probably been a wonderful father. Um, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. And so what ended up happening in my life is my work became my child. And I'm happy about it. I would rather be doing this than be responsible for another living being. I'll tell you that. I do like to be selfish. I do like to go out and have fun, but my work is my child, and it means everything to me. Absolutely everything. So I think I just approach it from a way of like care, and anybody who's involved in it, I care about. So even like behind the scenes, if I'm the first one out of the RV, I hold my hand out, I help everybody down, especially Roz, who's in big boots, or Juju, who's in big shoes, or even Logan, who's totally fine. I still help him. I open the doors, and it's just a thing I do because one, I'm Southern, and B, that's what gentlemen are supposed to do. And C, it comes from a place where this is how I show people I love them, is I try to take care of them. I do that. That's what I do. So very dad quality.
Very much. And you are a total gentleman. I can attest to that fact. And so now you've mentioned everybody on the team. What I want
Yeah.
you to do, I will say each one, and you say the first word that pops into your mind about them.
Jody,
Ready?
okay. Okay, yeah. Nobody's ever done this with me yet. This is great. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Absolutely. That'd be cool. Here we go.
Okay. First one that pops in my head is Juju.
Queen. Juju is a queen. She is she's right now in Africa becoming a high priestess. Right now. She's in Nigeria. She just was in Nigeria. Um, she's still there. Spotty internet. We can't get her on the phone. And a lot of us are really suffering because we can't get the queen on the phone. She's solid as a rock. She adjusts that crown every day, and she gives us her absolute best, even when she doesn't feel like it. And I really hope we get a season two, because season one was just a brief introduction into what power that Juju has. She's a total queen. Absolutely.
All right. Next one, Logan.
My love. I love him. He is my love. He is real quick story. Real quick story. When we went to do the chemistry test, it went from thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions to 12. They had whittled it down. Somehow, by the grace of God and the magic of the universe, I was in that 12. And I walked in to this Los Angeles hotel wearing my bowler hat, my traveling black, the hat box, the big black leather hat box, which you've seen. And when it's on the show, it's like the sixth cast member or the seventh after Kristen. Anyway, so I walked in and I put my hat box on the countertop and I'm checking in, being me. And I turned over and looked, and there was this tanned, blonde, beautiful guy. And my granny said to me, my granny, who's now in spirit, said to me, he is on this show and he is exceptional and he will be the medium. She said, so if you want to continue this journey, you're going to have to figure out what else you bring. And that's when I started kind of really going forward with paranormal investigation as my lead, and my knowledge of procedure and process as my lead. And and really strong with my readings and tarot cards. And I said to him after the weekend that we were there in Los Angeles in a haunted mansion in the Hollywood Hills, how cool. Um, I said to him when there was 7 of us left, I said, if we both get chosen for this, I will always be by your side. I will love you tremendously. You will never, ever be without me. And I will block the wind and the snow for you. And you can stand on my shoulders whenever you're too tired to walk. And he cried and I cried. And we have kept that promise ever since. I totally am. I love him in the weirdest way. It's not at all romantic, although I think he's I think he's so gorgeous. And he's a southern kind of handsome. I don't know. But it's also not just like family. It goes so much deeper. It's a deep, totally unique. I've never loved anybody the way I love Logan Taylor. Yeah, just I haven't. He's amazing.
Okay, this is the person that goes to my heart every show. Roz.
Hilarious. Roz Hernandez is incredibly intelligent, profound. She's a great visionary. But there are times that something she does or something comes out of her mouth that is so funny, I have to leave the room. Like there's some things that she'll do. It can be a look. It can be eating a donut. For example, we were in the RV and she was eating donuts and they were taping it. And every time she would go for this donut, she would like whole mouth a donut. She even got Alex. Alex was feeding her the donut because Roz was driving, and she was feeding it, and Roz bit her thumb, bit Alex's thumb. That's how much of her mouth she got around this donut. I proceed to laugh hysterically. And the thing was, we didn't need the laughter. You know what I mean? And so Roz is eating donut after donut after donut, and she's not spitting it out. Roz keeps her donuts. And I couldn't stop laughing. So finally, Roz was like, I can't eat any more donuts. Can you leave? And I was like, yes. So we actually parked the RV. I got out of the RV and just walked up and down the street until it was over. And finally, they called me back in. And I was like, I couldn't help it. I just can't help it. Roz Hernandez she is incredibly great at comedy. And I think there's moments where, and I know a lot of really great comedians. She's in my top 3 of the best I've ever met. And beyond that, she knows her paranormal business. She's not just there because she's somewhat famous and has a career of her own. She's there because she's been in the paranormal scene for a long time, has a genuine interest in it, and is a very open-minded skeptic, which every team needs. I say that Roz is my favorite ex-wife because I feel like she and I have this love that we have at each other. It's very kind of B. Arthur and Betty White. It's kind of like Rose and Dorothy, and we kind of have at each other, and it's all meant with love, and it's all meant with humor, and we just work well together. I just love. I think she's iconic.
Iconic is a great word for her. I so agree. And last but certainly not least, Alex.
Incredible. Alex is Alex is tricky because you look at Alex and you think, well, first she's non-binary, but she allows us to say she or he, whichever, or they.
Okay.
But she's non-binary. There are times that Alex is so shockingly masculine. It does things that just pretty girls don't do. You know what I mean? Because like in society, especially if you're
Yes.
my age or older, you look at somebody like Alex. She's ethereally beautiful. There's nobody. She's so gorgeous that one day when we were in the RV and the sun was coming through her hair and it lit like from behind. She looked like an angel. I couldn't breathe. I actually stopped in the moment. Was like, why can't I be a woman? Because I would marry Alex LeMay in a heart. But then she does, so she's this ethereal fairy beauty. But then she'll point toward a coffin and say, has there somebody been in that? Like, has that been used? And they'll say, yeah. And she's like, well, that's Robbie. And then wears his big chunky black boots. goes in there with like a soldering iron and starts making things. Like she is as gorgeous as she is courageous, and she has such integrity, and she's so brilliant. But I will say this: she has amazing character. There was a moment when I did something that wasn't great, and I had overstepped my bounds somewhat because I thought I was helping, because that's what I do. And she came up to me, and I don't know who told her to do this. I think maybe she just intrinsically knew to do it. But she was petting my sports coat. She was cleaning me off, and she was rubbing me, and she was straightening my ascot. And she said, "Hey, look, here's how I feel about this." And then she petted me on the belly, and she said, "I love you." And I said, "Oh my God." One, it takes great courage to say to somebody, "Hey, I know you thought you were helping, but this actually didn't help." And B, it takes a tremendous amount of character to have that conversation so beautifully. And she did. And I admire her. We talk at least twice a week. We all talk all the time. Somebody's always on the phone with somebody. Roz and Alex, though, are like this. They're on the phone right now. I 10 to 1. Alex and Roz are on the phone right now. But yesterday I was in the bathtub and Logan called me while I was in the bathtub. So it was like, I just pick up, I'm like, "Hi, babe, I'm in the bath. What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, hi, honey." And like, that's what we do. So yeah, it's a great group of people.
One thing that I so appreciate that you do on the show is whether it's for protection, whether it's for guidance, is you call on our angels. And I know I've talked with other paranormal celebrities, and they say that the networks um, don't think that angels have a place because they see them just as these froofy little beautiful, like the little cherub, for Valentine's Day, and don't see where they have a place in this supernatural normal realm. When you are calling them in or talking to them, whatever you're doing on the show, I'm just going, yeah, I can't
I
thank you enough for doing that.
well, I want to say, first thing, Hulu and Scout never ever told us what we should and shouldn't say. And it was never a thing where they made us feel. I never, based on my faith, my spiritual practices, because I keep Christian prayers and practices. I pray every day, multiple times a day. I prayed before we got on this call. I'm a prayer. And a lot of people these days think that's small-minded and stupid and ignorant and backward and non-scientific. Scout and Hulu never made me feel that way, not ever. And I will say that there's times on the show that I do go into prayer. I think maybe it was 2 or 3 times I went into prayer on the show. I myself was very careful about how I worded it, just because I didn't want anybody at home to feel slighted or disrespected. But at the same time, I needed to respect my faith and the things that I know in those situations help through my practices and my faith. So I approached it as well as I could. And having rewatched it in the scene that is the Copper Queen, when we're talking to Chrissy and we're doing a prayer for her, you can hear it in my voice. I'm getting choked up because I think I get emotionally moved when I'm dealing with the divine and the great source, which is what I call God in the universe, is the great source. When I'm in touch with that, you can hear my voice cracking and popping, just because it was so emotionally moving for me. It all comes from the heart, and it all comes from a really genuine, sincere place. And I'm honored and grateful. I'm grateful that Hulu and Scout never, or Elaine White, who was our showrunner, none of the producers made me feel bad about it. In fact, at the Copper Queen, when I was going through a really terrible time, because it was a demonic entity posing as a child. Oh, spoiler alert! Spoiler. Anyway, so I was feeling this negative entity, and one of the producers actually was Ash Wednesday, and one of the producers went out to a local Catholic church and had medallions blessed for me, and they honored me in that way, which was amazing, and I was so grateful. So yeah, I think I think we were really lucky in that we could be who we are, and who we needed to be to help the people that we were there to help. I'm grateful for it. It was a wonderful experience.
And that truly is one of the things that I think makes your show, Living for the Dead, so very special, is that you are allowed to be yourselves. You feel it, you sense it watching it. And it speaks volumes for your team and also those people that brought you in as this team and allow you to do this. And so I applaud both your supporters, the network, and your team for going about this as human beings.
Yeah,
It's
and
great.
that was the approach. It was, what can these humans do to help the living and the dead? And I think it comes across just like you said. I think you can feel it. I think you can sort of sense it, and I think you can watch five of the most incredibly different individuals. I mean, we're incredibly different, all come together for one purpose, which is, let's help the living by healing the dead.
Yeah, I love the title of the show
It's
too.
great.
And
It's
so
great.
you are, of course, the daddy of the living here on the show. Just love that.
Yeah.
Has has Ken Boggle changed in this process? I mean, I know Ken Boggle. Deep down, I know that Ken Boggle. Um, what do you say to that?
I don't I don't know how you can go through what I just went through and not change. Honestly. I don't know how you don't change. I think you have to. The process of filming it was the best occupational experience I've ever had in my life. I was standing there with Emmy winners and Emmy nominated directors, and I mean, directors of photography, directors of cinematography. Like, there was all these amazing people, and they listened. If I had an idea, they heard me out. If Roz had an idea, they heard her out. And for a little kid who grew up as a man who is still a little kid on the inside, who grew up dirt poor in southeastern Kentucky in coal mine country, to be sitting in a place like that with people of that stature in that industry, and to be heard and to be seen, it does change you. You begin to have some faith in yourself, and you begin to understand what your talents are, and you begin to sort of express your thoughts more often, and offer suggestions more often, and ask to be heard more often, and it was all met with great. It was received. All of it was very well received. But then there's post the show, where where you wake up one day and you're in People Magazine, or you wake up one day and you're getting offered an interview at GQ, Italian GQ. That's weird. That's weird. Like, when they called me up and said, "You're going to be on Watch What Happens. You all are going to be on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen." What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, how does that make sense? And so it's the thing that's changed me the most is, how do you reconcile the life that I have known my whole life, which was being homeless at 15 and struggling the way that I did, and being so hungry that I ate food off of people's plates while I was bussing tables at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. How do you go to that? How do you go from that to one day you turn around and you're a 40-foot billboard in Times Square, in Beverly Hills, on Santa Monica, on the 405? How do you reconcile that? So it's really, really changed me. It's not that I get recognized everywhere I go, but it's not that level of, I'm not at that level of recognition yet. And thank God, because what I have experienced so far has been very gradual. So I'm able to acclimate. but there's times when, I go to a bar or something, and people who normally have disregarded me in my life want to have a conversation with me now. And I become so uncomfortable that the other night I was there to have a couple of drinks with my friends and to hang out, to do some karaoke. I was only there for 15 minutes because it became so uncomfortable, because I know that these people would have never spoke to me otherwise. So anyway, it's changed me. I've developed some social anxieties because of it, but also I got to live my dream. And the honest truth is, I will take any amount of social anxiety to be able to get back in that RV with my four friends and do that work again. I would give, I would pay whatever price I had to pay to be able to go and do that with my four friends, and to be able to work in that industry again, and to be able to continue to be a part of the conversation of life after death. It's absolutely changed me. I'm a different person.
And yet, deep down inside, you are still the loving, giving Ken that all of us who have known you from before all of this fame, you're still that person. And so, on that note, because this will air now with the holidays coming up, so that everybody out there can help you out. This is a chance for everybody listening and watching to help Ken out now. What is a charitable organization that you would encourage people to give of themselves to now for the holidays?
I encourage everybody to donate to Toys for Tots. Everybody. Um, the reason you still know me, Jodi, and the reason why you still kind of see me as the same is because the thing that doesn't change inside of me is the fundamental belief that I am my brother's keeper. I'm here to take care of you. I'm here to take care of you. I'm here to take care of every. I am my brother and my sister's keeper at the end of the day. And you've heard me say that now for how long, Jodi? Like a long time. It's been a long time
Yes.
that I've said that. Um, because I mean it with every bit of me. And I'm getting emotional. Try not to be emotional. Um, for me, I think nothing's better than to give to children. If there is a child in need that doesn't have something, get it for them. No matter if that means you have to do without that day, you take care of the kids. I guess it's a Southern thing. I don't know. I think it just is what I am. So every year I do Christmas with Ken Boggle, and it is an event where I read How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and we have a great big Christmas party for people, and we invite children in, and we have gifts for them, and it's just all a great big toy drive for Toys for Tots. I then take all the toys that we collect locally here in Central Kentucky, in Lexington, Frankfort, Georgetown, and Winchester. Winchester, I'm there twice a week. How did that name skip my mind? Anyway, Winchester. I said we take those to the local fire departments, and they hand them on to Toys for Tots. But Toys for Tots is an organization that I have tried to benefit for the last. I think this is my 6th year. So please, if you have any kind of extra cash or extra money, even if it hurts a little bit, go down and get some brand new unwrapped toys. Find out where your local drop off is for Toys for Tots, and go help kids have a better holiday. Christmas might not be your thing. It might not be your thing, but there are millions of children for whom Christmas is something, and it means something to them. And sometimes they don't have the things that other kids get to have at Christmas. And so I was one of those kids. Go help, go help those kids. Sorry, damn. But yeah, that would be great. So everybody, if you could go do that, that'd be awesome. Sorry, Jodi. Dang it.
You're making me tear up, Ken.
I'm
You always
sorry.
you always get to my heart one way or another.
It's so
And that's why I
outrageous.
just
Yeah. So help the kids, for crying
I
out
I
loud. Don't
love
make
you
me
to
pay
death,
you.
Ken, and you know
I
that.
love
And
you too.
it's been so great talking with you again. And I know we will have more conversations. And so I wish you all the best. I wish you happy holidays. And I just wish you all the love in the world.
Well, I love you tremendously. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for putting up with me for all these years. Oh my God. Thank you.
Thanks again for joining Chaplain Jodi on Survivor Angels. For more information, go to chaplainjodi.me. That's chaplainjodi.me. And on Facebook at Survivor Angels-Chaplain Jodi. Sound effects for the show created by Andre Opate and provided by Pixbay. This is Dave Schrader. Until next time, sending you off to activate your angels.